Наживо сме във фейсбук групата Обожаваната жена. Тази група е за жени, които искат да имат щастливи, страстни и сплотени връзки с мъжете, които са избрали. Начинът, по който създаваме онова, което искаме във връзките си, е като практикуваме шестте умения за интимност на Лора Дойл, моя брачен ментор. Лора създаде шестте умения в процес на години проба-грешка, докато се мъча да направи брака си щастлив, спокоен и страстен. Здравей, Лора! Много се радвам, че си днес.
Hello, Mila.
Много се
Hello.
радвам, hello! Много се радвам, че си с нас днес тук. Искам да говорим за шесте умения за интимност. С тези умения аз напълно трансформирах брака си, който беше обречен. С уменията трансформирах студенината в топлина и враждебността в любов във връзката си. Я превърнах в място, където се чувствам обожавана всеки ден. Искам да споделя с всяка жена в България какво е възможно с шесте умения за интимност. И съм любопитна и съм сигурна, че и други жени са любопитни. Ще ни кажеш ли малко повече за това как се даде уменията?
Well, I was the perfect wife, Mila, until I actually got married. And then I thought, well, I'm going to help my husband. Even though I thought he was wonderful, I thought I'm going to help him be more ambitious and make more money. And I'm going to help him be tidier around the house. And also, I'm going to show him how to be more romantic. And as I was giving him these helpful suggestions, he was not picking up on them at all. In fact, he seemed to just resist them, and he was watching a lot of TV. He didn't want to spend time with me. He didn't even want to make love to me. So I thought there is something wrong with him. And I decided that we would go to marriage counseling, and then the counselor would fix him. And then I could finally be happy, because that's how I thought that things worked. But of course, that didn't work. And I remember I was on the counselor's gray couch when I realized that I was going to either spend the rest of my life in an unhappy marriage, in a loveless marriage, or I had to get divorced. And so I decided I would get divorced and hope to find someone better next time. I was married the wrong man. But there was one problem, and that is that I was too embarrassed to get divorced. People had been to the wedding just 6, 7, 8 years before. So as a last-ditch effort, I decided I would ask women who'd been married for at least 15 years, and if they seemed happy, I would ask them for their secrets. And the things they said didn't make any sense to me. I thought, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. One woman said, oh, I try never to criticize my husband, no matter how much it seems like he deserves it. And I thought, have you got anything else? Because I don't know. But then I thought, okay, I'm desperate. I'm going to experiment with their suggestions. And so I started doing that. And it was not long after that I came through the door and my husband's face lit up. He was happy to see me again. And that had been gone for a long time. So I thought, oh, this is working. And I was amazed that there was so much that I could do to make my relationship a lot better. I thought he was the problem, but I was wrong. And this gave me so much hope that I could have the kind of marriage that I wanted to have, which I wanted so badly. But then I ran into another problem, which is I knew what I should be doing to make the marriage better, and it really worked. But then one time we were driving the car and we had a big fight again. And I was just so hopeless again, because I thought, I know what to do. Why can't I get myself to do it? It wasn't even that hard. It was just new. And so I had the idea, I will get some of my friends to do this with me. And that'll make me more accountable. And it also made me more inspired. And the next thing I knew, I had this little circle in my living room, a little support group. And we were all seeing the result of practicing these intimacy skills. One woman, her husband won the sales contest at work, and he took her on the most romantic getaway of their lives. And another woman said, well, my husband painted the family room, and we've been fighting about this for months. I've been trying to get him to do it. And so it felt like miracles. We were really seeing transformation. And I knew that we had something really exciting and that I wanted to make sure other women knew about it. And one woman said, could you write this down for my cousin in Florida? Tell her so she knows what we're doing because it's really something. And so I said, okay, sure. And that became my first book, which was published in many languages, not Bulgarian, unfortunately,
Wow.
around the world, and has started a worldwide movement that you are now carrying forward, Mila, of women practicing the magical 6 intimacy skills that make marriages playful and passionate, no matter how hopeless they seem.
Yeah. Благодаря ти, Лора, за това, че създаде уменията и че толкова щедро ги споделяш с други жени, за да могат и те да създадат това, което искат в брака си. Нека сега да говорим за самите умения. Първото умение е грижа за теб.
Yeah. So I thought that I was being very helpful to my husband by I was helping him make his resume better and helping him dress better. And I did not know at the time that helpful in wife language is actually critical, controlling, complaining in husband language. And so this was doing a great deal of damage to the intimacy in my relationship. My husband just wanted to avoid me. And when I decided that I would stop offering helpful suggestions, that was actually very difficult for me because underneath that urge to control was fear. I was afraid that we wouldn't have enough money, that I would have to wait longer, I'd have to work harder, I'd have to be lonely. And so every time I was trying to control, it was really out of fear. And that was rather repulsive to my husband. And it was actually kind of repulsive to me as well. I sounded a little bit like my mother on her worst day, right? Just telling him what to do, nagging, repeating myself. It's very unpleasant. So I came up with this little cheat phrase that I call it that I could use whenever he was asking for my opinion, because I had taught him he better ask me how he should do things or else he was going to get in trouble later if he didn't do it the right way. And that phrase was, whatever you think. So he was asking, what should I wear? Or should I take the streets or the freeway? Or should I take the car in to be serviced this week or next week? And I thought, okay, I can let him make those decisions. And so I would just say, whatever you think. And at first, I think his head kind of exploded like, who is this woman? What has she done with my wife? But he really liked it. He saw it as me trusting him, that he is capable and competent, and he wants that more than anything. So it was kind of amazing. At first, I felt like I didn't have very much to say because almost everything I'd been saying was trying to control my husband. And now I was kind of forced to look at my own life, which had been going by with no one paying much attention to it because I was so focused on being the armchair quarterback of his life. And then my whole life emerged when I started focusing on myself. I got to write this book and become a relationship coach, a relationship expert, and go on TV. And I get to talk to you. And so it's been very exciting, all that has come out. And now, of course, it's made my marriage so much more intimate and playful and passionate.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you relinquish control, right? And I think you've just touched upon relinquishing control, and I want to go back to self-care.
Oh, self-care. Oh, I
Let's
apologize for that, Mila. Yes. So self-care is the number one most important, indispensable skill that we have to, for me at least, I had to do it to make myself happy. In fact, it was kind of funny. One of the things I realized looking back is I was very unhappy in my marriage. And I thought that my husband was the reason I was unhappy. But I've since learned that only happy people have happy relationships. And so when I was resentful and miserable, complaining on everything about everything he did wrong, I had no chance of having a happy relationship. So I decided that I would start this practice of doing at least 3 things a day for my own happiness. And so that might mean that I would go for a walk or take a nap or just have a cup of tea and read outside for a little while. Just frivolous things, not things to, you know, make me healthier necessarily or to improve the environment or something. It was just so that I would feel happy, just to make me smile or laugh and feel relaxed. And it was just the most amazing thing, because when I started to show up happy and smiling and laughing and dancing, I was so attractive to my husband. He was seeking out my company. And it also felt like I didn't have that time to, it seemed really hard. Like I'm working very hard because I was doing everything. And I don't have time to do this self-care stuff that is frivolous. But it was really interesting that when I started doing it, it felt like my time expanded. Like I had more time because I was having fun and I was getting everything else done. And I was able to show up more filled up and able to handle my life. So it's been pretty life-changing to learn the skill of practicing self-care.
Yeah, that's been my experience too, definitely. Um, and so I think we touched upon relinquishing control and respect a little bit, maybe, or both at the same time. But do you want to say anything else about relinquishing control? And then I can move to respect. And I'm going to switch to Bulgarian in a bit again.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. So, well, I think, relinquishing control has probably, so when I started this journey, I thought this is just about my marriage. I just want my husband to pay more attention to me. Um, I want him to desire me. I want him to make bedroom eyes at me. And that was what I was trying to get him to do. And then through the process of relinquishing control, I I made the discovery that the joke is on me. It was me all along that was blocking my husband from those things, the very things that I wanted the most. And relinquishing control ended up being the best self-development program, I guess, self-improvement program that I've ever been on, because it's helped me address the fears that I have. And I don't want to be driven by my fear. I want to be a woman of faith who chooses her faith, right? Who looks at the bright side and sees the best in others and in my own future, my own prospects. So it can be challenging. It was challenging for me at first, but now that it's my habit, I'm so grateful that I know how to relinquish inappropriate control of other people in my life.
Yeah, yeah. And thanks for making it as one of the skills, because it's definitely been my the game changer in my marriage, for sure. And he also touched upon respect. What about respect?
Yeah. Well, respect is a skill that I thought that I was doing already. I did not know that there was a problem with respect in my marriage because I didn't really know what it meant. I had grown up, I think a lot of us did, knowing that you should respect your husband. It's very important. And I thought, well, I do respect him, except for the way he dresses and the way he drives and the things he's doing at work, right? So there really was no respect there. And so one of the big discoveries that I made was that I could, when I was disrespectful, of course, my husband would get defensive. So whether I was making a helpful suggestion that sort of implied I didn't think he could handle things, or if I was like just outright telling him what to do, or interrupting him, or just not listening, arguing with what he was thinking. One of the things that I discovered is that the intimacy would go if I was disrespectful. So I remember this was long after I had been practicing intimacy skills. We were out to dinner one time and we were having a really nice conversation. The restaurant was packed and busy, with music and people talking and having a good time. And so he was saying something about work. And then I said something about his work too. And it was a comment that was meant to it was a criticism of how he was running his company, about which clients he was giving preferential treatment to. And immediately my husband's face got, kind of upset. And I thought, oh, wait, what just happened there? I didn't really want to be accountable and acknowledge that I'd been disrespectful. So I said, and it felt like the music stopped and all the people stopped talking and our nice time was gone. And I thought, oh, this is terrible. We were having such a nice dinner. And then I said, was that disrespectful? And he said, yeah. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to use my cheat phrase. And it's, I apologize for being disrespectful when I criticized your client. And you know what, Mila? The music came back on and the people started talking, and my husband looked relaxed and happy again. And we went back to having a nice time. And it's, I don't want to be a disrespectful woman. I want to give my husband, that's something that means so much to him, like how important it is to me to feel loved. I know that's how important it is to him to feel respected. So it was very hard to say those words the first time, but now I consider them like a magic phrase that I can use to restore the intimacy.
Да, това е точно магията, която се получава с уважение, наистина. След това се учим как да получаваме грациозно. How to receive graciously.
Yes. Well, this was something else I did not know that I was very bad at, but now I consider it of an important practice to be able to receive compliments and help and gifts and special treatment. So if my husband buys me a present and it's not quite what I thought he should buy for me, I think in the early days I did a lot of, I would take it back, or I would say, why did you buy me this? And today I've learned to see past the gift to my husband's thoughtfulness and just how sweet he is, that he was thinking of something that I would like. And sometimes, Mila, he would buy me something and I would think, why did he get me this? And then after a while, I'd be like, no, I love this. I didn't see it for myself. And that's part of being in a relationship, isn't it? That your horizons are broadened because the other person sees things about you that you don't see about yourself. He would say, like, I'd wake up first thing in the morning. He'd say, oh, you're so beautiful. And I would say, oh no, my hair is messy. I would argue with him, but he was trying to tell me how beautiful I was. And now even if I feel uncomfortable and a little squishy inside when he says something like that, I try to just receive it graciously. I just say, thank you. And that has done wonders for our connection because my husband feels that he can please me. He can say something to make me feel good, or buy me a present to delight me, or give me help. Even help sometimes I would say, oh no, I've got it. I can carry this. And he didn't feel very useful. It's interesting because I learned from a comparative religious studies student that in the study of yin and yang, right? So the yin being the female and the yang being the male, that like a coffee cup, for example, the yang is maybe the ceramic part, the part of the cup that gives it structure. And the yin is the part that can receive the coffee, right? And that's kind of a metaphor for us. And if you think about it, a coffee cup that can't receive coffee, it has no purpose. So this act of being able to really be feminine by receiving, that is the essence of femininity for me, that has given my husband purpose and also made me feel so special, like a queen in my relationship.
И след това идва как да разкрием сърцето си по уязвим начин. Vulnerability.
Yeah. Well, this is vulnerability was also, I think, probably the most challenging skill for me to practice. Even to this day, sometimes I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want people to see, I don't want anyone to see, not even my husband, that I am kind of a mess sometimes, right? I can't do anything else today. I'm depleted. My energy's gone. I liked feeling like I was Superwoman, that I could just do, go, 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 do everything. And sometimes now I just have to say like, oh yeah, I can't. And I thought that my husband would say like, you can't. What do you mean you can't? Of course you can. Just do it. And actually, it's been so wonderful to see. He has this totally different reaction to what I expected. He's like, "Oh, you can't? Oh, well, let me help you." Like, or okay, I'll do it, or I'll take care of things. And so that's like one aspect of vulnerability is kind of acknowledging where my limits are, right? I used to just kind of keep going past them. And then I would be so resentful, so exhausted, so depleted, and I would hate him. So, and then nobody was happy. So it was actually a wonderful thing to start really checking with myself. Like, can I do this without becoming resentful? But another aspect of vulnerability that I absolutely love is the part where I'll be just a mess. I'll be crying. I was watching a movie one time that was making me cry at home by myself in the dark. And I thought he was going to be gone for a while. And then he came home and I was right in the middle, just tears just squirting out of my face and snot and just very messy cry. And he came home and it was still, if the lights were still off. So he just said, "Oh," he's like, "Hi, cutie." And then I just didn't respond because I thought, oh, I'm not going to say anything because then he's going to know I'm crying. So I'm going to just try to like hide this. And of course, that didn't work. He's like, then he was like, "What's wrong?" And then I was like, then I spoke and then he could tell what a mess I was. And I just thought, oh, this is going to be repulsive. And it wasn't. He just came in. He just wanted to hug and comfort and he just loved it. And now that I have experienced, many times that indescribable feeling of just really being just myself, just I call it the accountable mess is what I think of as vulnerability. And it's just wonderful to feel loved, just even when I'm in that state, especially when I'm in that state. So it's one of the things I love about being vulnerable.
И шестото умение е благодарност, gratitude. My
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah. It is the most powerful intimacy skill of all is gratitude, right? It does double duty because it not only changes your perspective completely, but it also gets you a better response because people around you want to do more. And this is another one. I think we all grew up knowing we should be grateful for what we have and appreciate, and say thank you, right? As children, it's the first thing you learn is to say please and thank you. But I did not know what this practice of gratitude would do to change my life, where I started as an exercise. I decided I was going to find 3 things a day that I was grateful for about my husband and then say them to him. And this felt very challenging at first because I thought, why should I thank him? I'm doing everything around here and he hardly does anything. And no one's thanking me either. So I had a very bitter attitude. And then I started just trying to find things, anything, right? Like, thank you for working hard to support the family. Or I know one that was really hard for me was I thanked him for doing the dishes, even though I thought, well, he didn't clean the counters. He didn't wash the sink. So really, did he even do the dishes? But he did put the dishes in the dishwasher. So I would say thank you for that. And then it was funny because as I started to do this, I started to be very moved by how very much my husband does to make my life better. I really started to see like, oh, he makes my tea in the morning. And, there were so many things he was doing to lighten my load. And so I felt like I got a new husband from it. In fact, and one of the things I also started doing as part of my gratitude practice was to be mindful of the words that I was speaking into him, because what you focus on increases. And I had been focusing on how he wasn't making enough money. That was a big focus of mine. And I decided to switch it up and start saying, "You've always been a good provider." Now that seemed like a stretch, but it was true. It was basically, I could say it, And then for fun, I also decided I'm going to start calling him Mr. Moneybags. And so I did. And then around that time, Mila, he had quit his job, so he wasn't making any money. So I was very unhappy about that. But around that time, when I started changing my perspective and my words with gratitude, he started his own company, and he was more successful in that company than he'd ever been at his jobs before, working for himself. And it just became so obvious he's a good provider and he's Mr. Moneybags. I still call him Mr. Moneybags. He'll get a check in the mail or something. I'm like, oh, look at Mr. Moneybags. He's got a big check or whatever. So we just have fun with it now. And but my experience completely changed. And I don't know if that was maybe a coincidence, but I don't think so. I think the glasses that I was wearing made all the difference. And now I can see so much good about my husband. I remember why I chose him to begin with.
Yeah. Много съм благодарна, Лора, че те намерих и че направих уменията част от връзката и живота си и с тях трансформирах брака си. Ако не те бях намерила, най-вероятно щях да съм самотна майка в момента и сигурно много, много самотна.
Yes. So working with a coach
Yeah.
is yeah,
Yeah.
is a very powerful practice. So one of the things that was true for me, and I'm so grateful that I got from these wise women that I asked for advice early on, was I had some blind spots, right? I thought I just married the wrong man. I thought he's the one that needs to change. And it seemed impossible to me because I had tried everything. I'd read books and we'd gone to marriage counseling and I'd done counseling myself and everything. I tried everything already and nothing was working. So it really seemed hopeless. And it's just it's so magical to go through the skills with the help of a coach in a workshop. And I'm just super excited, Mila, that the women of Bulgaria have this opportunity because you're one of the best relationship coaches in the world, are going to be leading this workshop. And then they're going to get to not just learn, but also practice these exercises and do them in a group where they'll be accountable and other women are doing the same thing. And there's some magic to that. We find that, that was what made the difference for me. That's how I got my marriage out of the ditch, was by doing it with other like-minded women. And we were all standing for each other. That was a big deal too, that we all had this perspective that we wanted to have amazing marriages, not just okay marriages, but really to feel desired to have the kind of marriage that we dreamed of when we were little girls, that we would just feel so loved and special and taken care of. And that's what the intimacy skills give you. And that's what the workshop teaches you. And just like every other skill in life, right? Like driving a car or making an omelet, if someone teaches you, then it's much easier. And if you try to learn it on your own, well, you can, but it's such a gift to be able to take a course like this workshop, to be able to do that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I'm so excited to be able to offer that workshop in Bulgaria as well. And thanks for mentioning that, Laura. And would you please tell us a little bit more about your mission?
Yes. So I'm on a mission to end world divorce. And I never thought that I would be saying that, right? I was just trying to save my own marriage. I just wanted to do that. And then I just wanted to, when I got these insights, when I was able to save my marriage, not just save it, but make it wonderful and magical. Now my husband just will grab me and kiss me because I was walking down the hall, right? And we get to laugh together a lot. And so it became very important to me that other women could get this, not just this information, but also the support that they needed to implement it, right? Because it can be a little tricky to do it by yourself. It was too hard for me to do it by myself. And so what I've been doing is I've been training coaches like you, Mila, and you are a superstar coach on our campus, very powerful coach. And so this is a big part of, I can't end world divorce without having a coach in Bulgaria who is fluent in Bulgarian to bring this message to Bulgarian women. So I'm very excited that that you're doing this.
Oh, thank you so much, Laura. Yes, I'm also excited to have the opportunity to, as I said, to bring that to the women of Bulgaria. And thanks for giving me that opportunity as well. What are your last words for women in Bulgaria, and for those that are listening to us today?
Yes, well, I guess one thing that really would have been powerful to hear when I was struggling with my marriage was that that there was hope for me. You know, I really thought that my marriage was hopeless, that he was never going to change. And it was just so empowering to find out that actually I had tremendous influence over the culture of my relationship, over my family. I didn't realize, but women are the keepers of the relationship. And so we have, I think, a responsibility to learn these skills. And we were just talking, Mila, about that wonderful quote. And I can't remember who said it either. It wasn't me, but that in order to strengthen your country, right, you have to first strengthen your own community. And in order to strengthen your own community, you have to first strengthen your own family. And in order to strengthen your own family, you have to first put your own heart right.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of excited about what's happening for the country of Bulgaria with you bringing this messaging, this opportunity, your passion, your courage to share your story so vulnerable. You have a very powerful story of how you created a beautiful family yourself out of one that seemed broken and hopeless. So I think that is my message, that I hope that I think of Norman Vincent Peale saying, always see the possibilities, for they are always there. And there's so much possibility to have a playful, passionate, intimate, amazing marriage. And you're there to help show the way.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Laura. Thank you for the beautiful words. And yes, indeed, my marriage was indeed, it felt hopeless. And thanks to the skills, it looks completely different now. I feel loved and cherished every day around here. So again, very grateful to have been able to do that work with you. Thank you so much for being with us here today. I'm just very grateful to be part of that mission. And as I said, I can bring that to Bulgaria. And once again, thanks for being with us today.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me, Mila.